And we're back for some more of this draft deck. Let's see if we can rack up some more wins. It would be lovely if we could get to 6. That would be a very good result. Or 5 wins? How does this work? Okay, yeah. Well, if we can get there, that'd be great. Let's dive in. See if we can keep the good times rolling. Now, it has been a few days since I've recorded any games with this deck, so I'm hoping that I haven't forgotten everything about it. I have looked over the deck list just to make sure I remember what's going on. We're up against Teeth. Good name. Good strong name with the Tezzeret avatar. We're definitely going to play first. And we've got a pretty serviceable hand here. I'm perfectly happy with that. We've got all of our colours. Drop down a War Screecher. Probably go into... Oh, Tears Light Shield could be interesting, actually. Let's see what our opponent does. Because if we put a counter on this War Screecher, it does become a much more viable threat. So we'll definitely play that now. Opponent's playing blue, green. So presumably a Proliferate deck. Hey, you're not allowed to play those. Those are our signature cards here. Tears Light Shield could put a counter on this, which lets it attack. Or we can go Flux Channeler. To be honest, the Proliferate isn't really relevant until we start getting counters on creatures, so I think putting counters on our creatures is probably where we want to be. And we'll swing in here. Our opponent having flyers is a bit of a nuisance, seeing as flyers are our best way of getting in damage. Oh, that's even more of a nuisance. We will definitely be killing that on turn 5, because that's going to swing for a lot of damage here. So we can set up a relatively decent turn here by playing the Flux Channeler, I think, and save the Tamiyo's Epiphany for once we've gotten rid of this Owl. So let's attack back. Not with that, though. There's no point attacking with a 0-3. And we'll just put out the Flux Channeler and see if we can get back from this. I'm hoping that they don't give us another very good target for this removal, because we do need to kill this. Alright. Okay, that's good. They opted not to attack there. Now, if we go Callous Dismissal to bounce this, we can't then Tamiyo's Epiphany. So I'm just wondering about playing this, because it will then we'll be able to proliferate on it with all of these other non-creature spells we've drawn. So let's just think about this for a second. Either way, we're casting either Wondrous Strike or Callous Dismissal. I think Callous Dismissal probably gives us the most edge, so I'm going to use that to bounce this bird. It allows us to proliferate. Just the one counter on here, but that's still worth doing. And we'll get a big swing in here with these two. Now, the dream is they replay that, and then we just keep messing with them by casting one of these two spells next turn. This troll is quite serious business. I think it's probably worth just getting rid of it. Because Relentless Advance would actually make this a 5-5, come to think of it. We're not in too much danger on the life front, so I'm wondering if this is actually better. Because we would proliferate to put a counter on these two, and then make this into a 5-5, which could attack into the troll. And we would be swinging for 4 in the air as well. That's actually probably what we're going to do here. We can always Wondrous Strike next turn, although this does proliferate too. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 1, 2, 3. I'm going to offer the trade. I'm going to cast this. Allow this Proliferate trigger to resolve. Definitely put counters on everyone. And we will attack like so. See if they opt to block here. They will opt to block. I'm fine with that. This bird is now a pretty serious problem for them, so they do need to find an answer for it. I mean, this Strix can block it for a turn if it needs to. Vivian's Arcbow is a card I've played against, and it's quite powerful. Can they activate this at instant speed? They can. So they can look at the top 4 cards of their library and get a creature with converted mana cost 4 or less out with this. There's not much we can do to predict it. This is a sorcery speed. So I think what we probably want to do is play the Law Rune Enforcer. And that's interesting. They held priority there. Let's see if this resolves. It'd be nice if it did. Still get the Proliferate trigger regardless. And I think a No Escape is actually quite good here. We don't really want either of these lands. We can't play either of these this turn, but I think having a No Escape against blue-green is probably worthwhile. So we'll keep both of those. We'll keep the removal spell and the counter spell. I like Tamiyo's Epiphany a lot. I think we might be about to be tricked here in some way, but I don't see the value in not swinging for lethal. They've got to activate this if they don't have anything in hand. So they'll presumably find something, but again, they might not. And they're going to concede. Alright, so we'll go to game 2. Let's think here. If we're playing blue-green, I think we probably... I like the idea of having a bit more counter magic against them, just because they might have some really big dumb creatures late game that we can just prevent. What's going to be bad here? Pouncing Links in general I'm not very keen on, so if in doubt I've been cutting that. Lazotep Plating's probably still going to be good, and I think the rest of this is fine. We didn't see anything that makes me want to bring in Topple the Statue, right? Vivian's Arcbow I believe is an enchantment. I hope it's an enchantment. Is there a way to check that? We'll see. We'll see. This card's not great, so I'm not rushing to bring it in. And yeah, I think we'll just ship that back. Alright, game 2 here. Our opponent's deck, we didn't see very much of it, but they definitely have the potential to get a lot of power on the board quickly with that sorcery spell to put counters on things and proliferate. So we do need to watch out for that. Thankfully, we have a relatively good removal suite. Particularly in this hand. Now, we do need some blue mana here, but I think the fact that we've got a Law Rune Enforcer and a Divine Arrow makes me feel okay keeping this. We might get punished for that. This hand is a bit sketchy, especially if we're going to draw planes. But at the very least, we can stall things for a bit and hopefully draw into a blue source here. There's the Crunch Wrangler, and there's the blue source. So, we're probably... I think... we'll see what they do. We're probably going to just Divine Arrow that. But we'll, or, no, I don't want to attack. I don't want to attack. We'll leave it up to them. We'll see what they do on their turn and react accordingly. Because if they play a creature here that's going to power this up, then that's an issue. If they're not, though, I think we can probably just tap it. Save our Divine Arrow. Now here, we've got the potential just to counter a spell this turn. But I don't necessarily want them to know that, so I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to sit back for a while. Is our opponent playing mono-green? Presumably... oh, no, they're playing blue-green. Of course they are. Let's let them... alright, they're just not going to attack. And... right, okay. Let's, end of turn, just tap this down. So our opponent is definitely having some mana issues here, so we can actually capitalize on that. I would, as much as I'd love to hold this back indefinitely, we can't really afford to. So what we're going to do is attack to get that 1 point in, since we can't use this next turn, and play a Relentless Advance. Just try and keep playing creatures while they're having some trouble here. They need to find blue mana. They're in the same situation we were in. Alright, Crunch Wrangler's going to get in for a relatively big swing here. Do I want to block it? They didn't even give me the option to. That's fine too. Right, this turn... we can play Ashiok Skulker, or we can play a War Screecher and leave up some removal. Playing the Ashiok Skulker doesn't seem bad. I want to offer up a trade with Samas Token, to be honest. So let's do that. I'd trade these two all day. They opt not to. So I think what I prefer is having options. So I'm going to just run out... is that right? Ashiok Skulker blocks this. No, you know what? Let's get power on the board and just make hay while the sun shines. Try and get as much damage in as possible while they're still looking for this blue mana. This is Mawu. Mawu is very strong if you get to proliferate it. I would love to kill that if at all possible. So it would have been nice to have no escape, but what can you do? I think I want to keep up the pressure, so I'm going to attack with these two. I'm not going to activate Ashiok Skulker because we've got 2 Divine Arrows to back it up with. So we will get our attacks in like so. And see what our opponent does. So the double block here is perfect because it means that we can kill both of these creatures. So any blocking order is going to be fine. And then we'll just Divine Arrow on the... they don't have any way to put a counter on anything. So kill the Crunch Wrangler. And kill Mawu. Nice and clean. I think what I want to do here is play a land for one thing and leave up no escape. Or... no, actually, I'm going to play War Screecher. Let's, it's unlikely they're going to have any kind of Wrath effect or anything, so let's just try and close this out. I'm second-guessing myself a lot here, and there we go. Alright, so that match was pretty quick, pretty simple. Our opponent got a bit unlucky there in Game 2. which happens. It's part of Magic. It'll likely happen to us at some point. And we'll just keep it going. See if we can get a nice clean sweep here. Yeah, it always... it never feels particularly great to me when you just win, when your opponent gets sort of played by their own mana there. Let's see if Master of Keng has better luck. Obviously, it feels good to win. No, I'm not going to deny that. We'll play first. This hand is questionable. We've got the Contentious Plan. We can't play Sorin. This is essentially like we've mulliganed to 6 because we don't have a way to play Sorin. So I think we can do better. I'm going to mulligan that. This is not great, but we'll keep it. Hopefully scry something good. White mana is not what we need. We need blue mana. So we're in a bit of a bad spot here. Let's see if we can crawl our way out of it. And we'll just keep playing lands until we've got something more substantial. I mean, playing this turn 5 would not be a great result. Right, our opponent's going to start playing stuff pretty quickly here. Teo's Light Shield, I think we might as well just put this out and put a counter on it. If we can start proliferating, this can, as we saw with a previous opponent, this can become quite large. So I'm not against playing it as a 1/4 here. This card's interesting. It's a good thing to spend your mana on when you run out of things to do. But aside from that, it's not a particularly impressive card. So they've got 4 power of blockers. We might be able to... If we were to attack them here, and if they were to double block, we'd be in a good spot to use Battlefield Promotion. Or we can just sit back. I don't think it's a great use of Battlefield Promotion or our turn just to leave ourselves unprotected here, so I'm not going to attack here. I'm just going to pass it back. We do need a blue source really badly. Once we get a blue source, we can get this off and start finding something more useful. Could our opponent be having some trouble here? No. Iron Bully is going to put a counter on something. I'm assuming this bear. Or perhaps itself. Or that. Okay. And let's see if they attack with anyone. They don't. Right. Dovin. Dovin does do something here. If nothing else, Dovin is a good distraction. So I think we'll plonk Dovin out, slow down any weird instants or sorceries that they might be sitting on. And this does have Menace. Considering that this has Menace, I think what I actually want to do is, because I can target either of these two. This I can block. This I can't. So let's just do that. It's kind of a weird play, but I think I'll stick by it. We are very behind here, though, as far as board state goes. Hopefully Dovin can distract our opponent. I think one thing that is valuable about Planeswalkers is they can draw more attention than they're worth. So if our opponent spends a few turns killing Dovin here, or even uses some cards to kill Dovin, that gives us an opportunity to get out of this horrible blue manaless hole that we found ourselves in. And we'll just wait to see what they do. Right, so they're gonna make a very big creature here. Now, presumably they're going to attack Dovin, but with whom, and can we do anything about it? Because we could potentially... Yeah. So, because they're attacking with 2 creatures here, we can actually... We can't kill anything, but we can make this a 2/5, which would be able to block either of these creatures. So I'm going to do that. Am I going to do that? Dovin dies... Actually, Dovin dies either way. Let's let them do it. That's fine. So Dovin bought us a turn there. That's about as much as you can expect. Law Enforcer is going to be useful. Definitely get that down, and we'll just pass it back. We do need to draw something here. Opponent running... Are they splashing for the blue? And if so, what are they splashing for? Hopefully nothing too scary. And we'll let them go to attacks. Now this turn we will use this just to basically block one of their creatures. Now they could sort of follow this up with some kind of combat trick to kill Teo's Light Shield, which would be a shame, but I don't think we're really in a... Oh, interesting. Okay. So they're just going to do that instead. In that case, we'll just take the damage. Take our beats. What does this do? Ooh, that's problematic. We do... Right, we are in a real pickle here. So we're going to need to tap this, I think. I think they're going to swing for 8. Who do we tap next turn? We can't tap that. We could tap that, but if we tap that, this comes in, and it just makes both of these bigger, and we'll keep doing so. So I think we'll... I think the right play is to tap this, but it's going to be... It's not ideal, but this going off is just going to make it even easier for them to just win here. I think we're probably going to lose this game. Let's tap down the bear. They do let that happen. That's very kind of them. And here comes a big swing for 6. We can't do anything about it. Right, what can we actually draw here to get out of this? Maybe some combination of removal spells and land might be something that we could work with. We're going to mill us here for some stuff. This does not help, unfortunately, so we are in the same position as before. Now, next time we can tap this. They've still got us, I think, but we'll see if they actually... We'll see if they realise that, because you never know. Generally, I agree with the stance that you shouldn't really concede unless they actually have you beat and they're definitely just going to swing. Because here our opponent might make a mistake. They might think that we've got something that we don't. Right, that's going to resolve. And now we are super, super dead, but we'll just tap that just to see if they make some awful mistake. But we are likely conceding here. Yeah, we'll let them get the damage in. Why not? So what did we see that game? We saw some big stuff. Some big stuff was going on. But their creatures weren't particularly expensive, so I don't think counter magic is necessarily the answer here. I think we probably want something like Totally Lost undoes any proliferate work. Again, Pouncing Lynx doesn't seem very good here. Terra's Light Shield was fine. Lazotep Plating could be good. They'll have removal. We'll keep it in for now. Divine Arrow, I definitely want all of these. Battlefield Promotion is probably not quite as good. So is there anything we'd want to bring in? Do we just want to run a blocker, like something like Ironclad Crovod, that'll just, or even a Loxodon Sergeant, actually, just something that hits the board and has an impact. I think maybe if we bring this in and take out Battlefield Promotion and try it like that, just see if that helps. Just having a few more just slightly stockier creatures, I guess, to gun up the ground there. We'll play first. I think we can keep this. It's not brilliant. We've got a counterspell on turn 3 on the place, and we've got a Divine Arrow to deal with anything that comes down earlier. It's not a brilliant hand, but it's certainly playable, and we've got all of our colours, which is nice. Alright, now we can surprise them with our blue mana. What a shocker. I'll be blowing their mind. Alright, they opt to pass the turn. I think playing a Flux Channeler here is certainly better than waiting with no escape, because they might not even play anything we can counter. And we'll see what they've got. I'm assuming they've got something on turn 3. Yes, they've got the Grizzly again. Right, we could play Sorin here. What happens if we play Sorin? We could start hitting them. So we'd go up, they'd hit Sorin back for 2. Or we can just play a Loxodon Sergeant and pass. Let's get our creatures out for now. And no attacks this turn. We want to ideally use Divine Arrow as early as we can so that their creatures don't get out of range of it. So for example, one more counter on this Grizzly and it will be out of range of Divine Arrow, which is a slight problem. They opt not to attack there. That's cool. I'm into that. Now we've got a few options here. We can either leave up No Escape and Divine Arrow. In fact, what we might want to do is just attack. Because if we attack, we've got the Divine Arrow, and then we can just leave up some counter magic and just kill this Grizzly before it gets out of hand. So let's do that. Everyone's going in. It's just we've got so many of these, I just don't really see a reason not to use them. Even if it's just, you know, killing little 3-drops. We'll let that happen. Kaboom. And we get him for 3. Does this have Vigilance itself? Yeah, it does. Okay. That's cool. That's going to hit us. God Eternal Kefnet. This is beautiful, so we can just counter that. Oh, amazing. I'm so pleased that happened. So very happy. We don't need that. That worked out very nicely. Kefnet could come back for some horrible reason, but for now we have a nice advantage here as far as permanent's out, and the fact that we're just going to start gaining life, like so. Because if that Kefnet had landed, I think we would have been pretty doomed. Hopefully they don't have much more gas than that in their hand, or a way to get it back. That would not be fun. Although it's exiled. It's exiled even. Yeah, good news. Merfolk Skydiver. Puts a counter on... Ooh, this card. I wasn't aware of this card, and I already hate it. The fact that it can proliferate on demand. That's very scary. And this could potentially get quite sizable as well. We'll keep going up with Sorin. I don't see why not. And, I mean, if they block like that, that's probably fine. Because I wouldn't mind this being out of the way. So, let's just keep the pressure up. Yeah, that's a fine trade. We're not actually benefiting much from Proliferate as it stands, so I'll take it. And we can get it back with Sorin. If Sorin survives, we can just get that back. If Sorin survives now being the question, which I don't believe he will. No, he won't. Right, that was probably not the best play. We've drawn a Divine Arrow, which does mean that we can just attack in and hopefully kill one of these 2 next turn. Unless they get us with one. They've gone and got us with one. Ouch. Right, so we do now need to draw some more creatures, which we are quite low on. I'll definitely kill this if I get the chance. Oof. And they're going to follow that up with Vivian, huh?
I've seen puppies whine less than you.
So they've got an extra card they can play here using Vivian's -2. We'll Divine Arrow the Skydiver here. We've gained a lot of life, so that's quite nice. And we'll take our damage there. Vivian's quite annoying, because Vivian lets them play creatures during our turn. Dovin isn't going to do much here, but it will just irritate this Iron Bully for a while. So let's keep that up. Hopefully we can just draw into something like Kasmina here. Kasmina would be nice. Yeah, so they played that end of turn using Vivian there. So the problem is we don't have good knowledge about what they've actually got going on, because they'll play their creatures at the end of my turn, which gives me very little time to react to them. So that is slightly problematic. Dovin is still alive though.
You're not entirely incompetent.
War Screecher's a creature. It's better than nothing. We'll keep locking down their menace creature with Dovin, just to try and make things as difficult as possible. But now they could just land something massive here at the end of my turn, is the problem. Commence the endgame. Draw 2 cards and amass X. Right. Yeah, our opponent's deck is sweet. They've got all sorts of nasty, horrible cards. And that's just what we've seen. They've still got 20 cards left in here. Could be all sorts of nonsense waiting in there for us. But as it stands, it looks like we might not have a game 3. We've got loads of life, so we've got a bit of time to draw into something, but our opponent's got, you know, 4 cards basically, now essentially 5.
Have you ever lost a home?
Assuming if those are creature cards, they have to be creature cards for them to cast them, but presumably the bulk of their deck is made up of those. Right, they don't cast anything there. Dovin, I think Dovin as a last effort can just get rid of that. And we'll hold this card just so they might think we have something, you know? Just as a little mind game. We're definitely not attacking. Oh, actually, we should have attacked Vivian there. That was bad. That was a bad move. Definitely should have attacked Vivian. Let's see what they do here. Mau is back. Yeah, we are getting steamrolled here. That's going to resolve as well. The problem we have is we don't really have an answer to this many creatures being out, aside from having our own. You know, we don't have a card that just deals with all of this.
Wait, you think nature
And they've given that
is
reach, which means we now can't crack back at Vivian. We really should have killed Vivian last turn. That would have been much better than where we are now. Bond of Insight resolves. Maybe our opponent will mill themselves. You never know. What have they milled from us? And they've got Commence the Endgame and Encouraging Crisis back in their hand. Right, okay, we are... So this is going to combo with Mau's ability to get all of the counters in the world. Right, that's not a problem. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll just take it. Like, we're not gaining anything by throwing this bird away here. There's no sense just chumping that. I think we're likely going to concede pretty soon, but let's pass the turn and just see what else our opponent has going on, because this is a really cool deck. If nothing else, we've it does a lot of quite interesting things. Which colour's their splash? Are they splashing white? Bit hard to tell. Or they could just be playing a sort of multiple colour green deck, I guess. Yeah, this is the power of Mau here. If you can start putting counters on Mau, it gets out of hand very quickly.
for the fallen.
Now, they might just have us dead here on the attack, right? So, if we block Mau, they're attacking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we have to block Mau here. So we will. Block like that. And take the beats. Ouch, 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 ouch. Still dead. Didn't do the maths right. There wasn't much we could do there. Let's give him a good game. Oh, I missed it. The thought was there. It's the thought that counts. Okay, so we lost that one. Let's see if we can win the next one. See if we can round this off with a nice clean victory. I don't know how the opponent matching system works in Magic Arena. I assume it works in a way where you're matched against people with the same win rate as you, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know whether it is just random. I've only played with it a bit, and it does seem that the more games you win, the better decks you tend to play against. We've got the option to play here. I think this hand's playable. We need to draw a swamp for this Dreadhorde Invasion, but we've got a creature and we've got some removal. It's not a brilliant hand, but it's certainly something we can work with. And we'll just play our Strix here. We had some very powerful draws in the first few matches, so I'm not sure whether I'm keeping bad hands here, or whether we're just having slightly worse luck with what we draw. Let's get some damage in here. And we'll play out the Pouncing Lynx, which I think Pouncing Lynx is probably better in green-white or red-white than it is in blue-white, because those decks have more spells to leverage the first strike, whereas the way we're playing it, it's not actually doing us much good. This turn we can get some cards and get quite a nice big swing in. So we'll see what we've got here. We definitely want that black mana. We don't want any of this white mana. I think we definitely want to keep a Callous Dismissal on top as well, so we'll draw those two. And now we can attack in. And because this has first strike, this cannot safely block. So next time we could line up a tempo play where we bounce something and play Dreadhorde Invasion. I think that's likely what we're going to do. It kind of depends what happens here. If they play something that we need to get rid of immediately, which that is not, then we could play something slightly different. Are they going to attack here? It's got to be tempting. If they attack, I think that's better for us, because it means we can line up some slightly better attacks next turn with the Callous Dismissal. Ideally, we want them to amass more. Yeah, I mean, alright, so now we're definitely going to be bouncing this zombie army, because it's become their best creature very quickly. And once we bounce it, it is gone. It doesn't go anywhere but out of the game. Does this change things at all? I'd quite like to play that Flux Channeler. It is a good card. The question is, what order we do it in. If we play that... I want to get the Dreadhorde Invasion out as well, just so we can start building up the board. So it might be that the correct play here is just to play Flux Channeler, Dreadhorde Invasion, and then save this for a future turn. Because there's nothing here that's crazy powerful. So yeah, let's do that. Unless... if we... yeah, no, I think getting the Flux Channeler out early is generally going to be better. And we'll... does this trigger from any non-creature spells? It does. So let's get Dreadhorde Invasion out just to pump this. And no one's getting any counters. If we attack with the Lynx here, it just dies. So we'll just get in with the Strix and pass it back. This is a position I quite like to be in Limited. You've got your creatures out and you're just sitting on answers. So if we can draw more answers or more creatures, we're in a pretty good spot. But if we just start drawing lots of lands, we could eventually get swamped. Our opponent's got all of the cards in the world. They could be missing a second blue source here. Or something like that. Which they're tapping for colourless. Was that intentional? Is that are they casting something here? They might have been trying to activate the ability on this. Does our opponent know how to undo? If anyone watching this doesn't know, I believe it's Z. I think if you just press Z, it will undo an action there. Yeah, they might have misclicked here a bit. Because they need to pay one and there we go. There we go. Now they can cast whatever crazy planeswalker they're trying to play. Which, depending on what it is, might end up getting bounced here. Oh, I hate this card. It's a good thing we've got something free to discard to it. Davriel is really annoying. Davriel is like the world's best mind rot. Because it can even make you discard 3 cards, which is just incredibly rude. So next turn we're likely going to Callous Dismissal their zombie and attack this in the air. Hoping... I mean, I don't know of any blue 2-mana spell that would stop our Strix from hitting Davriel there. So I think that plan will work. Right, and they're going to Callous Dismissal our Flux Channeler. That's fine. We'll just replay it next turn. Do we take our beat? Yeah, I think we've got to take our beats here. There's not a lot we can do about that. That is a trade I will take. I'll definitely, if they offer that, I'll definitely trade the Pouncing Lynx here. That's a much better creature than a Pouncing Lynx, so we'll take that. Now, what they're presumably trying to do here is get our life total nice and low. But we do have a few... we've just drawn a way to fix that situation slightly. So what we can do here is play the Flux Channeler and then use Callous Dismissal to get rid of their army here, which I think is a pretty decent play. Makes our zombie army bigger, which is exactly what we want. And I don't actually want to bounce this because I don't want them to be able to just refill it. So we want to kill that. We'll definitely make our zombie army bigger. This doesn't do anything when it dies, does it? No. Right, so we'll attack like so. Our zombie can't attack. Is our zombie... yeah, our zombie arrived this turn. It's just massive all of a sudden. Davriel's out of here. And... oh, why didn't that work? Oh, they proliferated, didn't they? I just... in my head, I had Davriel being on 2. I mean, if it comes down to it, we'll discard Battlefield Promotion, if that's the card they want us to get rid of, but that was a misplay there. I missed that they'd proliferated a counter onto Davriel as well. It won't be the end of the world, but we will. We might regret losing that combat trick there. Presumably, that's everything from them. If they attack here, it's going to be very suspicious, but I probably will still block just to see what they're up to. Is that a second Flux Channeler they've got there? It is. I think we might just kill that, depending on what we draw here. Contentious Plan is nice. Yeah, we don't need to exile this turn, I think. Let's Contentious Plan, see what we can find. Get proliferating. And our opponent concedes. Okay, cool. So, with our opponent playing a blue-black deck with what looked like quite a lot of a mass, do we have anything that will punish that? Totally Lost is good against a mass. What else could we be looking at? I think Pouncing Lynx is probably fine here. Their creatures are going to be smaller, like ours. What can we lose? So they were playing lots and lots of proliferate cards. Is there anything else we have that could potentially mess that up? Not particularly. We do need to cut something. I think... I don't want to go down any creatures, really. We could probably lose a battlefield promotion here. We definitely want to go down some kind of removal. Maybe no escape. Yeah, we haven't seen any amazing targets for that. So let's just play it like that. Because since we're going to be on the draw, the card that we want to counter the most, they all cost 3 mana. So no escape's not going to be useful on curve. And while it can be useful later in the game, it's certainly not a guarantee. Right, this hand is good. We've got 3 mana, we've got a 1-drop and a 2-drop. And then some cheeky spells. I'll keep that. Getting this out nice and early should be helpful. It's not good against their zombie armies, but, you know, I'm sure we'll find a use for it somewhere. And these Strixes, if we could draw a second Strix, we've got such a good suite here to enable it. Let's get an attack in here. And play the Strix. So now whatever they play, if they block with it, we can kill it. I don't think there's many... Oh, are they missing a colour? Alright, so what I want to do here is see if they fall for a trick. Because I would like to kill that. So we'll see if they'll give me the chance to. By attacking like this. And if they don't, we'll play a Flux Channeler. Right, they didn't fall for it. That's fine. We'll play our Flux Channeler. And pass it back. And I think I would trade mine for theirs. Or they'll concede. Okay, that's fine too. So that was a... I think that game would have been quite interesting if it went on. So it's a bit of a shame that it ended where it did. Is that the end of the draft there? Does seem to be. Yes, we've won it. So we had 5 wins and 1 loss in the end. I'm pretty happy with that. And thank you for watching. Thank you for rejoining the channel. It's been such a long time since we uploaded anything. I think I'll probably do another one of these. I quite enjoyed that, so we can see what other fun is in store with this format. So we can fire up another draft sometime next week, I would say, and see what we get there. But wherever you are, good luck, have fun. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're new to Thriving Scrubs, do give us a subscribe to see some more content coming out over the next few weeks.